Run, guys, run!
Way up, I wasn't ready there. Bloody steady on. Good evening, how are we all? Hello. Thank you very much for dropping in. We're here for the next episode of the GeekCast. Yes, episode 7. That's sneaked up even with... I got goosebumps. I know you're excited. And the crowd go, well, that's... Jesus Christ. Oh, dear. You know, the funny thing is I've now put the chat actually in the GeekCast so that most of the time you'll see it. And when I switch to my normal layout, you're going to see that, oh wait, that's herpes is going to be one of the first comments that you see in the chat. And I think they're great. But then again, that's our community. That's who, well, it's original anyway. But hello, good evening. How are you all? Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, this week I'm trying to condense things down a little bit. I know I usually end up rambling on, and I always say this every week, so I am trying to cut things down a little. So hopefully we aren't going to be on for 2 hours and God knows however much as we normally are. So hopefully a bit more condensed. I won't take up too much of your time, but we've got a few things to discuss as always. But thanks for being here. It is why I do it, aka slacking off. To be fair, that is a bit right actually, because I didn't feel too great last week. I didn't feel too tickety-boo over the weekend, so I didn't actually write this at all until yesterday. So it was a little bit frenetic. Your mouth goes walkies most of the time. Yep, indeed. So yeah, apologies if it's not as long in the entirety of a normal show. But without further ado, we'll switch over to what we have fuzzy list for today, and that is we're gonna have a little talkie about the Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV series. Oh yes. Indeed, that's had some details released, not much, but we'll have a little look at that. Apple AI image scanning. This one's a dubious one, but is it a good thing? We'll discuss that as well. A pensioner has a World War II stockpile. I always like to find a little oddball one. Now you might say, what's that got to do with tech? But you know, we'll discuss that as it is. Name the game and name the movie. Last week, people were stumped, absolutely stumped with name the game and name the movie. It was difficult. It really was. I've made these a little bit easier, although I do think name the movie is going to still be a toughie. So I'm not expecting to make them too easy. I can't have you all walking away with geek coins. So we're going to be doing that. Difficult for losers, exactly. Obviously, we're going to discuss the delay, Just a New World. And then, nobody told you this, but there's a playtest coming up this coming week for Battlefield 2042. But we're going to discuss that as well, so some details on there. So, without further ado, we shall move on to Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV series. Now, everybody, I'm sure, is well aware of this, with the billions of dollars that have been spent by Jeff and all the cronies at Amazon who've got the rights to produce a TV series. Now it's wrapped for filming, seemingly. Again, very well done in the sense of nothing's really leaked. But I think they're taking a leaf out of the Lord of the Rings films by using fake kind of TV sets and crews and stuff like that, where they've set up across New Zealand and places like that just to throw people off the scent, because people do want to know, they do want to be invasive, they do want to find out. So yeah, it's kind of wrapped for filming. I can't wait to see what Davis is like. Legolas, really. Yeah. But yeah, so the big news is that they're intending to launch next year. I know it just seems a hell of a long way away, but it's over a year away. But September the 27th is going to be the launch date for the first episode of the TV series. Now, it is going to be on Amazon Prime, because obviously Amazon, they aren't going to just release it to anybody. So I reckon they are going to get a monumental amount of people signing up to Amazon Prime that the week before that. So, I mean, we're quite lucky because we have Amazon Prime anyway. Hence why, you know, Magic subs to me every month. So, you know, it's payback. It's payback. Yeah, so pretty much if you're not aware of it, you must have been living under a rock. But the details are that it's going to be based in the second age of Middle Earth. So it's going to be all the way before The Hobbit. It's going to be before Lord of the Rings. And it's going to feature a lot of people who you might not have even heard of, to be fair. I presume, and this is just a presumption, that Sauron is going to be around. However, he's going to be in the form that he took, or the forms that he took, rather than the Dark Lord in his dark armor and, you know, swinging the mace and in the eye of the Tower of Barad-dûr. That's probably not what we're going to see at all, because obviously that's the Third Age. That's obviously after he was dispatched many years before, thousands of years before. So it's going to be an interesting one to see what happens. Now, one thing that has appeared is the one thing pretty much that Amazon have released, and that is an image. And it is an image that I'm going to show you if you haven't seen it. So if you just bear with me while I just switch around. And there it is. That is the only image that we've seen of part of the TV series. Now, it's been dissected and dissected and dissected in minute detail by lots of Tolkien scholars, people who know the background and the lore and everything else a lot better than I do. But that is the only image that we've seen. Now, the main feature of this, obviously it's a beautiful city and everything, and they kind of people have been trying to work out what the city is and who this person in the foreground is. But if you look at what a lot of people originally thought was the sun, isn't at the back. On the right hand side, you can see the two trees, and those two trees are Laurelin and Telperin, and basically they're what brought light into the land of the Valar. So people will obviously probably know of Laurelin more than Telperin. Now, Laurelin obviously is one of the servers in Lord of the Rings. But pretty much they brought light and dark into the world of the Valar. Just start talking like that coughing. But what they did is they basically covered 24 hours of the day, in the sense that they waxed and waned between the two states. Obviously, one's a darker tree, one was a lighter tree. You can see, obviously, one's very, very bright, hence why you think it's the sun behind the behind a tree, but it is actually another tree just to the right, which is giving out such bright light. But you can see it's starting to go to like late evening, so the darkness is coming in as well. But that's probably the main feature, and it's going to be something that obviously gives very much a hint of what happens in and around that timeline. But like I said, people have been dissecting the image. They've gone up really close. There's the swans and birds that they've looked at. They can pick out people on boats. They think they're elven. They even think that this is a short-haired elven character in the foreground carrying a sword on their hip, because it looks like they've got their hand on their hip, but it looks like they've actually got a sword because there's a bit sticking out. Again, it's been, you know, poured over time and time again, as to you know, who they are and what they are. Now they're speculating it's a very young Galadriel with short hair, because she's obviously an elf of very old age, so she's going to be around. I mean, when you look back to the Lord of the Rings films, obviously you see the bit where there's the battle where the elves and the men and everybody else basically cast away Sauron in his form and cut the one ring from his hand, etc. And he disappears to lick his wounds, to then obviously reappear many thousands of years. So it's going to be going back to that era and before. Now, some people might not know, but Sauron actually had a boss. He was a lieutenant of a even worse evil character called Melkor. Now, those two trees are quite important because they did not... yeah, Nettlebrew, exactly. They could have the hair in a bun. It's very difficult if you do zoom in on the image to actually see it. It doesn't really show. It looks like they've just had their hair cut off at the back. You know, so it's Bezoth. Very good, original, very good. Bezoth. But yes, now you can see there's a very clever tie-in with later known as Morgoth. Indeed. Now he did not like the fact of all this wonderment and everything within the world, and he wanted those trees gone. And yes, we may see this in the film. It's maybe a bit in the TV series rather, and it may be a bit of a spoiler, but he gets basically the descendant of, well, not descendant. Shelob is a descendant of Ungoliant, who was an even bigger spider. Now, Shelob was huge. And the former Arthur known as Prince, very good. Now, Ungoliant was an even bigger spider, and that got their brood to basically attack those trees to take them down and to take all the energy from them. Bit of a spoiler, but that is what happens to those trees. So we're going to be aware. So you're going to be on tenterhooks really about when that's going to happen and if it's going to happen all the way through. Now, they might not even touch on that subject, but we know that was very much... They are allowed to go flashbacks, and this is the thing. It's not just based in the second age. They are allowed to diverse off, and they are actually going to be able to touch on the third age as well. But they are allowed to obviously retell the story. So I'd be very surprised if that didn't get touched upon. But obviously, for those still to be around, Melkor has to still be around. He can't have been banished as such. But yeah, pretty much to get attacked. So it's going to be interesting. I think, was he Morgoth? What was his bedroom? I can imagine it was a total fucking mess, to be honest with you now, bro. I reckon there's going to be dinner plates everywhere, and he was just like, fuck it, I'm not getting out. He'll have had the curtain closed because he won't like sunlight either, which is very true, because that's why he wanted to get rid of that tree. Yeah, very interesting. Again, we've got a year to wait on that one, so we have no idea the whole story. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a learning experience, and I will guarantee that Tolkien scholars and people who understand the lore and pore over that lore are going to be up in arms at some point about it, because they'll say, I can't believe they put that in. That isn't in there. Blah, 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 and all this. And they're going to go nuts over it. Peter Jackson did it a little bit, obviously, with The Lord of the Rings. He was very clever with a lot of things, how he tied them in. Yes, he changed certain things for film, etc. Yeah, I think this is one of the concerns, is that they don't want people to do a Game of Thrones and totally sexualize it and everything like that. But who knows? If they do, and this is where they have to be very, very careful, is that they could have a $1 billion paperweight on their hands. They might have the rights, but they'll have nobody wanting to watch it because they'll think it's totally shit. Now, obviously, Game of Thrones grew in popularity and, you know, had a basis to start with. Yeah, no, I meant must have. Oh, dear. Yeah, so Peter Jackson mostly respected the spirit of the book, at least. There were some bits I found a bit off. For the most part, it was the spirit, even though the text was actually, yeah. Only emergency stream about this pick was very... Yeah. Like I say, they're going to get poured over totally and absolutely about everything and looking at it in a minute detail. I mean, I'm sure I just grabbed this off Amazon's website and downloaded it. I think there's some really high-res versions and probably floating around as well, but it could be just conceptual art that they've made and it isn't actually what things are going to look totally like, because obviously that's what they're doing now over the next year or so before it gets released. But it's going to be exciting. Anybody that's interested in Lord of the Rings, it's going to be a definite watch for me and Magic. Yes, it'll be confusing, I'm sure, to a lot of people because they won't have the relation to your Aragorn, your Legolas. Yes, Elrond will probably be there, you know, etc. Galadriel. Obviously, they're going to be younger characters because they aren't going to be the same people who've played them. You know, Kate Blanchett's not in it or anything like that. But you know, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I'm sure you guys and girls, obviously, that have started following me from playing Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, are going to be well hyped for it. They're going to be interesting to see what comes from the whole production. But like I say, I just hope Amazon don't butcher it and just treat it as some kind of cash cow. To me, when I saw this image, it didn't look too close. I thought it was the Tower of the Sun God, Minisar or Tirith because of the design. Yeah, I mean, you would think that as well. Obviously, because of that. But going back, you know, but I can't remember. Somebody did say that there was a they seem to think that this city was XYZ because of the trees close by. There's rumour that the first 2 episodes are just prologue for the noobs. That would be a very good idea, and to be honest with you, I wish that was something that The Witcher did, because I think in the most modern TV series, Tyrion the City, that's the one. Yeah, I had Game of Thrones in my head and I couldn't remember why, and then obviously Tyrion, obviously it's spelled different, Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones, and that's why I had it in my head. But yes, that's what this predicts is that, because obviously having the 2 trees. Like I say, I'm no Tolkien scholar. I'm not a complete lore nerd, and I don't mean that in a derogatory term, because there's so much to dive into with the appendixes or the appendices, etc., of Tolkien's work, that it is quite baffling that people know so much about it. But that is the image. That's what we've got, basically. And I'm sure, don't worry, I would have thought next summer the hype will be ramped up massively. Absolutely massively. And could it have implications for the Lord of the Rings game? Could it? I mean, obviously we know that Amazon have kind of gone, nope, that's it, it's dead in the water, because of contractual issues that they had with the Chinese development company and Tencent. Maybe they might think, hang on, we are missing a trick here. Let's refocus. Let's get hyped on this. Let's get something there. But they're going to be losing so much time in development if they don't. So maybe it is still a dead duck. Maybe it's not going to happen. Oh, absolutely. Again, they'll know their legal situation with regards to what they can delve into and what they can't touch, because I'm sure Amazon will be like, whoa, hang on, we've got the rights to that. Get out. You know, you're not allowed to touch that. But they're very clever Standing Stone Games. I mean, when you think of, they did touch on the Second Age with the whole Black Book of Mordor. Yes, it was their interpretation, but it focused around, you know, destroying Sauron, etc. In the Second Age. So, got to wait, unfortunately, over a year. But yeah, when it comes around, it's going to be an interesting time, and hopefully it might be a bit of a boom for Lotro. If I'm sure they'll tag into it. I mean, you don't ride. There's going to be a massive tsunami of interest in Lord of the Rings stuff, and if that's making a big wave, you surf that wave. You know, for getting people involved. To be fair, with a big investment company, G7 involved, there maybe more doors open than before, pure speculation, but we'll see. Exactly. I mean, we don't know what's going to. I mean, if we could all predict the future, we'd all be very rich, wouldn't we? Let's be fair. We'd be very, very rich. So there we go. That's Lord of the Rings TV. Let's just switcheroo back to there. Right. Let me just put a streaming marker into there. Right. Next up. Apple and their AI image scanning. I'll preface this by saying that this is a very good intention because of the reasons why, and we'll go into it. But basically, Apple are going to introduce a system to iDevices, so basically think of your iPhones, iPads, etc., that is going to scan for images on people's devices that meet a certain kind of, not criteria, because it's going to be done with an algorithm. However, and it's not a nice subject to talk about by any stretch, but it's just prevent child abuse, basically. And they're going to be scanning people's images and videos for anything that should trigger an algorithm that looks like it's images of child abuse, and then it will contact the local authorities of that country to say, we found this potentially on somebody's phone. You need to investigate. Like I say, it's a good thing to stop anything like that. That should not happen in the world. The sick people in the world. Exactly, Leo. That's without. I know exactly what everybody's saying, and that is the thing. It's absolutely great to stop this from happening. There's such a big thumbs up for the 99.9% of the world for this to be stopped. You know, I mean, it's sick, it's vile, it's just mind-boggling that anybody would even venture down that route. Well, you're flipping it around and playing a bit of devil's advocate here, and I'm not, trying to defend pedophiles or anybody like that. That's not what I'm saying. The wider implications that start with the potential for misuse of this technology. And the other thing is, well, Apple fairly recently, and they did shout about it massively, and they even put it on the side of a building, big images and this, that, and the other. Like, and it was a big privacy thing. What is on your iPhone stays on your iPhone. So it's kind of harking to the what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas kind of, line. But then all of a sudden they do this, and you think, hang on, your technology is going to scan every image on my phone for potential problem images, and then you're going to flag something up. Now, if somebody has a picture of a child, say their own child, for example, exactly, Salvo's false positives, and this is what I mean, as a false positive. A lot of people have children of their own, nothing wrong, and people have already had it with Facebook and places like that. They've taken a picture of their kids perfectly innocently, maybe in their bath, they're having their first bath or something like that, and they're really happy, like, oh look, so-and-so's loving this bath, or they're in the paddling pool in the garden on a hot summer's day, etc. And all of a sudden you've got a picture of a child on your phone. What are you doing? False positive, knock, excuse me, we need to have a word, sir, madam, etc. And this is the problem with it, and I think this is why everybody's like, whoa. Nappa's news with his little baby Willie. Sorry, Nappa, I don't know if you're here, dude, but yeah, just blame it on me, So yeah, the problem is the privacy. Where do you draw the line with the invasion of the privacy? Now, is it a thing that we can forego having that privacy, that total privacy? Like, if I took a picture of myself, should I only ever see that picture and whoever I share it with? But then you think, hang on, is my phone, and yes, I do have an iPhone, is that going to be transmitting images, or is somebody going to be... Because you have this wonder, don't you, that you think, right, if something gets flagged up, it goes to somebody, and then do they manually check that image? Do they then have access to that image? And you're thinking, hang on, like, should that be right? I know, Salvos, you just touched on it. Obviously the UK data privacy laws and everything like that, and the GDPR. This is what is going to be problematic, because every country is going to be different, and they can't just roll it out and say that's available if you want to, etc. And now various countries will also want to know what is being scanned on the devices, because I'm not being funny, but Apple being a US company, and they do have a Chinese market, obviously, but with a lot of lockdowns, are China going to really want to allow that kind of technology onto their phones? Now, if it was nefariously put onto people's phones, maybe the Chinese people, etc., are they going to want that there? And, it just, oh, look, we can find this. Oh, that person's been there. Is it going to be some form of tracking? Are they just going to do it with an algorithm of some description or some markers that show specifically it is for child abuse? Yeah. I just think the technology is not there that's perfectly allowable. Now, if you are an Apple user, to my mind, you should be able to say, F off, you're not having that on my phone. It should never be forced. Now, but the thing is, what Apple will do is, once they get it in through Parliament in a country or anything like that, or any government approval, what they will do is they'll say, right, the next update, you've got to have that. If you don't update, your phone's going to basically not be usable, X, Y, Z. Because eventually they will push and push and push. Now, I can see why they're doing it, but are Apple developing a technology that's going to be used in the wrong way? And this is what everybody is worried about, because let's be fair, we know that your Amazon devices spy on you. I mean, we've got 2-3 of them in the house, and all of a sudden on your newsfeed on whatever, it's something you've just been talking about will pop up, and you're thinking, oh yeah, obviously that thing's been listening to what I've been saying, and you just know that that's targeted. Is this going to be the same? Is it just going to be so intrusive No, but they can keep you to a degree because you up your voice logs are uploaded, so they can listen. And they were found out, I think it was a couple of years back, to actually have been listening to people's conversations. And that was not for manual review, but some of the staff were just manually listening to people's conversations. So when you say it only listens, but they were invading that privacy because it wasn't done as a just a purely algorithm reacting to what you were said. People were manually reviewing those, and that shouldn't be done. Straight away, that technology is abused. It doesn't matter what stage you're at, whether it's a new technology or an older technology. If that abuse is still able to be done, and I'm not talking about child sex abuse here, I'm talking about the ability for somebody to look at those pictures manually. I'm not saying they can because I don't know the ins and outs, but it's the privacy concern, and this is what I think everybody will be like, whoa, I don't think so. So what implications is it going to have for Apple? Are they going to introduce it? I mean, they've produced a white paper on it, which is basically how it all works. And, you know, it's like, oh, yeah, this is what should happen. And this is what will happen in this scenario and this. And, you know, so people can see it. But we don't know the ins and outs of everything that are going on. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. But you do always have to have just a toe dipped into the pot of, what if? You know, if you just go blind with something and trust implicitly, you're going to get burnt. That's pretty much life as it is. You know, you cannot trust because there's always somebody that wants to take the advantage. Now, the other thing is as well is that if these governments, such as China, do allow it, are they going to turn around to Apple and say, right, you want that on my phone, on the phone in the Chinese people? Yeah. We want access to that data because we want to know what our people are doing. Have Apple then just become the spy lords for the Chinese? I'm just using China as an example here. So if data can be scanned automatically, it's going to have to be stored in a central server. So once it's there, it can be used by someone. Whether it will or not is to say another matter, but there's no way to 100% prevent it. I expect Apple will be provided to all of the ECO and UK DPAs. True. What are they going to do? Flag it for review and upload to their servers? That should be a crime, even if they are right. This is it, but I don't actually know without reading the white paper, and I haven't had time to go through all that, and I'm sure that would need to be sorted by the lawmakers, etc. Further down the line as to what that would be, because I'm sure a lot of governments would say to the public, oh no, we're not allowing that, but then in private saying to Apple, hey, we'd like that, but we want to circumvent that. Like I say, it's very divisive, and this is like the things I like to bring up because it might not be the latest and greatest in, you know, the games or anything like that, but it is a thing that everybody needs to be aware of. And like I say, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch. I don't subscribe to the COVID whole jab, giving you 5G and, you know, tracking devices and having all this kind of shit attached to it, because it peer review, etc. So yeah, China requires that data as soon as it's stored in China, and these Chinese Americans want to make some case to get that data removed from China servers because they are citizens. Yeah, but like I say, what a corporation does non-public facing could potentially be utilized for nefarious reasons. But it is a thing that people need to be aware of, and I think not just Apple users. If that can be developed by your Googles and Android and etc., I'm sure eventually it will be. I mean, we know the technology will eventually come. What's the phrase? If we imagine it, we can create it. You know, I think this all came around when, you know, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of years and stuff like that. But when you think of like Star Trek in the 60s, you know, we think about things that have come from Star Trek. When we've gone into space, we've created materials specifically for space because we've had to think of ways that we can do things. And that will happen eventually. It's like being able to get to Mars in a day. That will happen eventually. It will break what we know as physics. You know, we'll push the boundaries of physics, and then something will go beyond that. And we'll have, oh shit, we can do that. I'm not saying it's going to be next week or the week after, but in thousands of years, if we're not blowing ourselves up and there is actually a world still around, that could happen. Who knows? But It is. I think it is a very good talking point. It's something that people need to be aware of, and I'm glad that you guys have dived in and you know, had the say. This is what I want. This is what I need from these kind of things. I know we have for the fun and games, but what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a shocking idea? Yes. I know Nettlebrew, you put it in there earlier. I'm just going to try and find your phrase. Yeah, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly the thing. The intention of it at the start is to prevent child abuse, but is it going to be abused itself? Who knows? Who knows? But I think we've just got to be very careful. Even if it starts on Apple, it can move to Android. Yeah, like I just said, the only way it can be avoided on Android is if someone forks it to get the scanning tech out. Yeah, like it starts on Macs and then moves to Windows, and then it's going to be forked to get scanning tech out, but then pushes things to the fringe, to the underworld. Yeah. Need to be careful to review gathered pics, or at least in the UK, it's an offense to child porn. Yes, exactly. Now, this is why seemingly it would be that they would just tell law enforcement. Maybe they wouldn't review them themselves. But what I would be kind of inclined to think is if something is a false positive and gets pinged, then somebody's got to review that data. They can't all of a sudden, I mean, I'm not saying one pic, it would be several pics or something like that. I would think this would be how it would work. All of a sudden from a device, 5-10 images have been pinged up by this algorithm, etc. It gets passed to the law enforcement, then they need to make a decision on whether they need to talk to that person and intervene and just say, look, XYZ has happened, you know, we need to look at your phone, we need to subpoena that phone because we think something's on there. Is it a step too far in the privacy? And this is the privacy battle that does wage on in this country and across many countries. Some obviously countries don't allow any such privacy, but it's going to be an interesting one to see this one develop actually further down the line. But yeah, it's definitely without a shadow of a doubt a good technology if it's used the right way. It's a bad technology if it's not. Well, that's a lot of technologies, to be fair. But anyway, we'll move on from that because like I say, it's good and bad. There's always a bit of a dubious point, but yeah, let's bet on that quickly. Yeah, that's probably going to happen. That's probably going to happen. Absolutely. So, right, next up for us is a pensioner with a World War II stockpile. Now, I'm just going to say 37 points. Very good. I'm just going to mention this, is that it's not in your normal gaming and tech. However, it is technology that was used many, many years ago in the World War II. It is the era of war that I was most fascinated with when I was at school and etc. You're very right, Keep. You're very right. Basically, there's an 84-year-old guy in Germany has been fined for having basically a Nazi war machine stockpile. And it is amazing. It started in 2015, and basically the local investigative bureaus, etc., were looking for stolen Nazi art because of the World War II. Nazi Germany just steamrolled through loads of countries. We know this if you know anything about the World Wars, and they pretty much just took whatever they wanted, including artwork. So even now in this day and age, there's artwork that's missing or artwork's getting found, and they've been trying to find stuff just to actually return it to the rightful owners, etc., and this and the other. Well, while they were doing this search, they actually happened across this guy. Like I say, he was a lot younger then, who actually had this massive stockpile of not only weapons, and it's a hell of a list. He had torpedoes, mortars, he had an anti-aircraft gun, a full, I mean, these aren't just like little toy versions, these are full anti-aircraft gun, machine guns, automatic pistols, and they found approximately 1,500 rounds of ammo. And to top it all off, they found a full Panther tank. This thing was something like 45 tons, and he had it in the basement of his house. Now my question about this is how fucking big was his basement? You fit a 45-ton tank An anti-aircraft, well, it drove. It was drivable. It was a fully working tank into it. But yeah, it's probably not like an underground garage. But it was seen. Well, yeah, but I mean, depends on the rounds of ammo. If you've got 1,500 rounds of, ammo for your weapons, that's a lot for a single person to have, But it was just quite bonkers how much he actually had. But I want to know the size of his basement. He was a 45-ton tank in there. Now, to be fair, he'd had this tank for many years. In the 1970s, the local mayor, the recent mayor, said we saw him use this back in like 1974. He says he used it as a snowplow because they had a really bad winter, and he used it as a snowplow to open up the streets of the town that he was in. So nobody thought anything of it, but then it just, it put it in his basement. It just collected dust and rust and everything, but it's still in working order. Maybe not fully, but the problem is that pretty much he wasn't allowed to keep it, and it's taken a little while, but he's had to go to court and everything like that, and pretty much they forced him to they fined him firstly, which is 250,000 euros. Now the poor fucker ain't going to be able to afford that, but it works out, and this is just to convert 212,000, near enough 212,800 pounds. And he's basically not allowed to have it anymore. He's been given a 14-month suspended sentence. Now, the sentence will come into effect if he does not sell all his items within 2 years. He has to sell all these items within 2 years. But they have to go to legitimate collectors. You can't just sell it to somebody on the street or anything that... yeah, one last lap. Yeah. Yeah, doing handbrake turns in the town square. That'd be cool in your Panther tank. But yeah, he's got to hand it all over. It's got to go to a collector. He's got to be sold, and it's got to be within 2 years. Otherwise, he will then get a sentence of 14 months in prison. Now, he's 84 years old. He's just going to do that. And there's plenty of people that already have kind of said, look, we'll take it. We'll do this. We'll do that. The irony was, to actually get the tank out of his basement, they actually sent a military team, a German military team, into the basement to remove it, and it took them 9 hours to get it out, because although some of it was working, it didn't all fully work, so they couldn't just drive it out. So I think they had to, and there's no more details about it, but I think they had to get some winching gear. And actually, now the anti-aircraft gun in itself, that was always hitched up to usually the back of a big vehicle anyway to get moved around. So that was always mobile. But it's a hellishly big gun, an anti-aircraft gun. So you got to feel for him a little bit, to be fair. But yeah, 2 years to collectors would be reasonable. A bit sudden, but still doable. Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's... I just thought it was so funny. I thought, wow, how has he got away with that? For so long, but like I say, it would have probably never have been discovered. Nothing would ever have been mentioned apart from when they were doing this investigation into the stolen artwork that the Nazis had taken, and they were just trying to recover it. And then unfortunately they got wind of this, thinking, what else have you got? Do you just have some stuff? Because they're not supposed to even keep it. That's the thing. I mean, obviously Germany is very, I won't say touchy about it, but they're very reticent to deal with that, if you know what I mean. Whether you give me my headpiece, do you remember the thing of that? Wow. That's a very niche thing. But yeah, so he's got to hand it over. If he doesn't, he's going to go to jail. But hopefully, well, he'll live to see the day where it goes to a collector. He'll have enough money to pay off his fine, and he won't get sent to jail. He did actually say, and it was his defendants, the defending lawyers for him said that he's not a Nazi sympathizer. He just literally was a restorer and a collector, and it had been his life's work to keep it and maintain it. But he couldn't do it now. He's 84 years old, so hence why it was in a state. But he just wanted to make sure that people didn't think he was some kind of Nazi living the dream of owning part of the war machine, and he still believed in that. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, he's fingers crossed he won't spend any time in jail. Right. We're going to do a video like we did last week. So here we go.
Nobody likes being left out. That's why Special Effect are helping people with physical disabilities to play video games. But this isn't just about having fun. The gaming setups we create are personalised, so people can play to the very best of their abilities. And that opens the door to inclusion and independence, confidence and creativity. Help us level the playing field and create more magical gaming moments. Because it's everyone's turn to play.
There we go. I like to always put that one in, but that is special effects. So you're going to see that one every week, just to remind you how wonderful a charity they are. So if you ever do have any spare cash, or if anybody's doing any form of charity event, please do put the money that way. You can as well for people here in the UK. I don't know about other countries, but you can choose a chosen charity for donations. So every time you buy things through a special link, Special Effect do get some money, and they give you like a monthly total of how much they get. It might be in tens of thousands kind of thing, but it all goes to a wonderful charity. So please do look into that if you can. Right, what we got next? I don't know. What could we possibly have next? It's time for Name the Whatever. Yes, it is. Let's dive over to Name the Whatever. It's going to be Name the Game and Name the Movie. Cool. Well, thank you, Nettlebrew. That is fantastic. Yeah, having the charity of that on there. Indeed. So, look at people just picking out all the. Well, it's magic, isn't it? Originals. Well done, original like that. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, I need to see everybody typing that. You can copy and paste that. Actually, I like that. What original's done. So we'll have a little bit of hype going on that one. So we can have. Just copy and paste those three little. I don't know what they are actually on myself. What are they? Oh, Limmy Ecclified left you a gif. Yeah. Oh, it's because he'll be on there, right? I see. Yeah. Okay. It's because he's on that one. Yeah. Okay. Limmy. Yeah, Limmy. He's an Irish. Is he Irish? He is Irish. Yeah. Character. He's a comedian, kind of. Bit of an oddity, but yeah. Scottish. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't remember if Limmy or yeah. I've just. Well, you know. I'm not even going to say that they're closely related because they can be. Are we all the same to you, English lot? Now, if I'd have heard him speak, those Gaelic lot, exactly. You know, there's too many of you. Anyway, right. So, name the game. You know the rules by now, but if anybody's new and they don't know, this is it, right? I'm going to reveal an image. It's going to be blurred. Okay, then you've got 60 seconds. I'm going to put a timer up on the screen. It's going to be 60 seconds. If you get the game within those 60 seconds when the game is totally blurred in the image, I will give you 5,000 geek coins. Which you can spend how you like when we do a normal stream. If nobody gets it, I de-blur the image and we reset the timer. And you have another 60 seconds. And if anybody gets it in that, you get 2,000. And if nobody gets it after that, we reset the timer. And then we do another 60 seconds with a slightly less de-blur. And it will be down to 1,000 geek coins. If, like we had last week, nobody gets it, I'm going to de-blur it even more until it's virtually seen. And then we shall give away no points because you're all crap at that point. So we're going to do the game first. And then we're going to do... I was waiting for somebody for that. That was last week's answer, just in case. But it's definitely not that. So... We are going to bring up the 1 minute timer. Oops, if I've only pressed the button once, that does help. So this is very blurred. Okay, this image, just so you're aware, it is very blurred. And then I'm going to refresh the timer. And then you guys can start. Let's see. Can you work that one out? Weirdly, and this is a suggestion, if you stand further back away from your screen, it looks easier to see because I'm looking at Magic's monitor over there and the image is clearer than what I've got on my screen. That was about all I could see when I first met the girlfriend. Wipeout. Okay, yeah. This is something. I'll take my glasses. So we've had about 3 guesses. Trackmania 4. 3 guesses. This is going to be tough. I thought, well, I actually think when I de-blur it a bit, it's going to give it away a bit better. But 100%, I always think they're very, very difficult. And this one, I think, will be... The film, I think, is going to be very difficult. Do you know, I forgot to do that again. I need to do that thing. Button. Hailing effect. No. Nobody's right. Nobody's right. So we're going to reset the timer. We're going to look at the image and we're going to de-blur the image slightly. Let me just get the filters. So we're going to take this down to 75% blur. Not that it ever makes... We'll take it to 70 because I don't want to be too nasty. Let's go 70%. There we go. That made all the difference. Yeah. Rich. I told you, I never said it was going to be easy. Never said it was going to be easy. Rocket League. Okay. World of Warships. Yeah, okay. So this is for 2,000 geek coins if you get it right. If you get it right. I mean, to be fair, we have had some, like we did have Gran Turismo a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. And it did get spotted very, very quickly. You know, I think, I can't remember who got it, but, ooh, I tell you what, Fairlon, I thought you'd have been in for that one because I know Fairlon does play Warframe. 5 seconds. Shocking. I need to record it on one of my buttons. Hang on, let me see what...
Raise the wanker.
Wow, that one worked.
That's what she said.
Merry Christmas.
I've got Merry Christmas. What? Hang on, let's just see.
Merry Christmas.
Hang on, let's just record the... Hey, I'm recording. I've done it. So when you get it wrong, I go... He's the wanker. That was... Do you know what that was? Raise the wanker was because of playing Sea of Thieves.
Raise the wanker.
It's a bit loud, actually. I do need... It's got a bit of distortion on it. Wings of Glory. Right, so we're going to de-blur even more. You know. So, and we're actually going to take this down to 40%. 40%, because this is the last time you can get any geek coins. So we're down to 40%. All right, are you ready for this? Are you ready? Press the timer. Kerbal Space Program. That's 40%. That's weirdly, it just looks so clear from a distance. Yeah, I sat so much closer to the image on my screen. I'm like, I mean, I know what it is. That's what it's doing for. You're a hard man to please, original. You're a hard man to please. Magic's opinion on that one was, I haven't got a fucking clue. She didn't know. She doesn't know this one. I just love that it stops. Oh, Tom, did it put an ad in? Oh, shit. Oh, dear. Yeah, I can't actually do anything about those, unfortunately. Fuck. Oh, dear. Don't worry, nobody's guessed it up to now. Anyway, and... Oh, dear. Yeah. Or you can use ad blocker, but it depends what you're actually using on. If you're on mobile, it doesn't work anyway. But yeah. So there we go. Right. So nobody's got any coins for this one. So I'm going to de-blur again. Now, let me get the right image. That one. Ah, see, they work for me, Keeps. Unless they're embedded, unless they're actually what the streamer rolls. So, we're going to go down to 20% on this. 20%. 20%. I'm not going to do the timer on this one, so we're down to 20%. Ooh, that's going to give something away. That's going to give something away. Ooh. Oh, God, people are getting closer. They're getting closer. That is a big hint there. That is a big hint. Nope. Kiwi's like, that's a fucking X-Wing. You might be right on that, Keepy, but that is not the name of the game. Panadol, that's... Hey, original gets it. Oh, fuck. Hey. Well done. Sadly for you, Panadol, it was Star Wars Battlefront 2. Oh, dear. There we go. And then just so Keepy can actually bask in his glory, indeed, that is an X-Wing. As new... Bastard Dick Colour. Bastard Dick Canut. Indeed, indeed. Yeah, sorry, Panadol. When you said it, I thought, oh, no, that's going to give it. And I was like, ah. Indeed, indeed. And can I just say, original, you've spelt vengeance wrong. Vengeance. Keeping easy coffee. Indeed. So, yes, it is. It is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Sorry, Panadol. Panadol's like, I don't care. Yeah. Original's over the moon, above the moon on that one. Too busy winning. Indeed, indeed. So there we are. That is the name of the game. And indeed, and just to prove... No, I hope it doesn't put Left 4 Dead. But just to prove it, it is Star Wars Battlefront 2. There we go. Now, for some reason, every time I've saved this goddamn thing, because it's a presentation with an expert, it would always revert to Left 4 Dead 2 or Left 4 Dead. Do you remember one of the first ones we did, which Napa got? I would change that wording to Star Wars Battlefront 2. I'd even save the whole presentation. But the next time I came in, my missus has said, "How could I get it so wrong?" Oh dear, that's harsh. That's so harsh. Mrs. Panadol, that's harsh. Oh dear. But yeah, there we go. So that is the name of the game. You're the still your idea. Indeed, indeed. So yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2. So I thought it was bad. Indeed. But as soon as I de-blurred it and you could see the engines on that X-Wing, I thought that's just gonna... Everybody started aiming towards Star Wars. But I just love the fact that when people get getting so exasperated, especially you, Keepy, like, that's a fucking X-Wing on the left. Why is it not X-Wing Squadrons? I've said the answer. Give me the win. But sadly it wasn't. Yeah. But yeah, you definitely, with the grayness and everything, you could see why it did look like a battleship, you know, to be fair. But sadly incorrect. So we'll whiz that one away. Right. Next one up is Name the Movie. Now, I think this could be tough. You're probably going to prove me all wrong here and then just get it within like 20 seconds or something like that. But I actually do think it's going to be tough. So I'm going to bring up the time. Do you know, if anybody gets it before I actually start, I'm going to be disappointed because I'm not actually going to count it because the timer hasn't started. So you could say it at the start, Wolf of Wall Street. You could say it at the start before I started the timer and revealed the answer, and then I would say nobody's actually said the correct answer yet. So, Dumbo. So I'm going to reveal the image and reset the timer. So be ready on this one. I guess the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Left 4 Dead, Resident Evil. Right. Ooh. Now remember, it's the movie. Yeah, obviously, like Doom is a movie. Mary Poppins Home, and oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah. Oh dear. Girls Gone Wi-Fi. Is that from your search engine results there? Original Muppet Christmas Carol. Oh, I can see. Yeah, I can see why you think that. Yeah. Blair Witch Project. I've never seen the Blair Witch Project. Obviously, I know of it, etc., but I've never actually watched it. I can imagine that in the time it was there we go. That's it. So there we go. So that was round 1. Puss in Boots 2. Fucking hell. Actually, I knew people were going to struggle the sausage party. Jesus Christ. I love it, these. Right, so let's de-blur and reset. Right, so we're going to take it down to 70%. We'll go to 70%. No, yeah, we'll go 70%. I actually think this is going to be difficult. So we're going to de-blur to 70 and reset the timer and refresh. You wouldn't actually think that actually fucking did anything there, did you? I'm just actually... Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. That's actually one of Magic's favourite films, isn't it? You love Romeo and Juliet. Shrek. Oh, dear. I just love how many people think this is the best bit of the whole fucking thing. They just turn up for this. I'm sure they do. I've actually noticed. I need to look at every VOD and see where the actual number of viewers increases just in time with Name the Movie and Name the Game. It's like, I'm just going to have to fucking scrap the GeekCast and just do Name the Movie and Name the Game quizzes. I could actually do that, to be fair. It would take a while to do. It would be difficult to set up, though. But... Big knobs and broomsticks. Original, I'm sure you keep looking at the porn versions. There we go. That's that. So when nobody gets it, I told you, I did think this one was difficult, to be fair. But let's de-blur again. Let's de-blur. Right, so down to 40%. Being the head of Alfredo Garcia. Right, so I'm going to go down to 40% on this one. Let's see if you guys and girls can get this. There we go. Fucking hell, that didn't do a great deal, did it? Jesus. I think the annoying thing is because I know exactly what it is. I can see it, and it just... Rocky. I can see where this is going. Oh dear. Do you know the other thing that's very, very difficult is knowing how much to de-blur it without giving it away? I mean, I go down to 70 and then I go down to 40 and I think that's going to give it... You sure you didn't get this from a porno? That looks like a dancer on the right. Ah, yeah. Go, Bug's Life. Oh, okay, yeah. Ghost, yeah, okay. Kingpin. 10 seconds. Wrath of Khan. Wow. That's a Star Trek movie, by the way. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Oh, gee, I've got a button. I don't need to do that anymore. I can do that. Right. I'm going to get rid of the timer because that is difficult to search for Spock. So I'm going to take it down to 20% now. 20% de-blur. And we'll see if you can get it from this. Because we got it down to 20% last time and people still didn't get it. Search for... He's still looking through his porn archive, isn't he? Right, there we go. Down to 20%. Oh. Force Awakens. Rogue One, yeah. Terminator 2. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. To be honest with you, Nettlebrew, I can see why you think that. Artemis has gone for Mars Attacks. How you doing, Artemis? Oh, say somebody's trying to reservoir dogs. Okay. Star Wars: Revenge of the Filth. Dear. Indeed. I'd love to. It's a shame actually we can't have Time Cop. Wow, that's an old Jean-Claude Van Damme one. Jesus. John Wick, RoboCop. Wow, Aliens, Backdraft. Ooh, Nettlebrew, I see what you did there. Yeah, I can see. So I think, to be fair, and I'm going to give you a kind of hint here. It's going to be, this film was released before even I was very young. I was only a few months old when this film came out originally. Ineffective fireman. Right, so Empire Strikes Back. I'm going to take it down to 10% blur. 10% blur. There we go. Magic's giving me the look as that hasn't fucking helped at all. Yay, Artemis, well done. Towering Inferno. Indeed, that is the right one. Well done, that man. Person. Indeed. So, just to reveal, it is indeed the Towering Inferno. And that was released, I believe, December, or around that time, 1974. That was only a couple of months up. Never even heard. Fuck off, original. Never even heard of it. So it had quite a big cast and it did win. Yeah, you have heard of it. That's all right. Never fucking heard of it. Pick something someone's heard of. Yeah, keep it. Oh, it's like, I haven't heard of it, so I don't know this one. It's like, that's like a Man United supporter saying, oh, we've won the league. We've won the Premiership. Yeah, well, there was a league before the Premiership started kind of thing. You know, it did, you know. I wasn't around then. Yeah. I was only 2 months old when it came out, Keepy. I know you're a lot younger. He's wearing a fine tailored suit to fight that fire. Indeed he is. Indeed he is. So, yeah, I think my ineffective fire move. It is. It had Steve McQueen in it. He was in it. Faye Dunaway was in it. Fred Astaire was in it. He was actually in it as well. Paul Newman was in it as well. Yeah. So yeah, I thought I was going to throw in a difficult one there. But Nettlebrew, I saw where you were going with that, and I thought, ooh, is he down the right track? Because I knew, obviously, you'd said Backdraft as well. And I thought, ooh, I know why you're going there, because everybody saw the fire. But yeah, it's it is a difficult. All I had was old person 1, old person 2, old person 3, old person 4. Yeah. Yeah, Nettlebrew, if you had not seen it, I'd have been very surprised. But yeah, old film. But hey, films were made, you know, just not in your own lifetime. Same with the games. I mean, that game was from 2017, so I kept that fairly fresh and young that everybody should have known, and then they didn't. So yeah, gotta be difficult ones. Gonna be difficult ones as well as easy ones. So yeah. No points I've dished out. Although, Panandul, I am actually going to give you some geek coins, to be fair, because I think you do deserve some, because you were right and you did give Original the win on that one. So I'm just going to actually give you some coins, my friend. Once I find you in the list. Helps if I spell your name right. There we go. We're going to give you 1,000. Should we give you 1,000 geek coins for that? There you go. You got 3,921 geek coins. There we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's the two with Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront 2, just to be completely specific. Giving 10,000 you cheaps, yeah. And then the movie was The Towering Inferno. So I like to make you all complain. You know, it's the fun bit is actually you guys giving such in answers that are just like, what? And then you kind of work them out and you narrow it down and narrow it down. I mean, I know obviously we'd add that down to 10%, but people knew that there was fire in that one. And Keepy knew there was a fucking X-Wing in that other one as well. But he didn't get the right game, and that's the problem. So, Yeah, we can't make it too easy for you because where's the fun in that? Let's be fair. Where's the fun in that? Right, back over we go. So we've done name the game. Yes. I knew there was a big horse somewhere in that movie one. Indeed. Right. Moving on then. Next subject. How are we doing? Oh, we're coming up to about an hour and a half. We're not doing too bad. I don't think we're going to stretch it out too far. It wasn't your... Ooh, harsh. Right, so... You know, guy, you know that I've been playing New World. I know Keepy's been playing it as well. Original been playing it a bit. Other people have been playing it as well. Now, we've been playing the beta. That finished last week. Pretty much Amazon have decided that they're going to delay the launch. The launch was due at the end of August the 31st, 34th. Wow, pick a new date in the world. Original, all I'll say to that is that if they're young. It has been delayed 4 weeks, so it's going to be coming out on the 28th of September now. So pretty much they've just said, look, we've taken the feedback, they've looked at the data from the beta, and they realise that there's things that do need a tweak and a polish, which is good. I did expect it, and I think I actually expected longer, if I'm honest, to the delay. But I think they're still trying to push it out before the big games hit. In your October time and November time, you know, like the new Call of Duty will come out. They don't want to get lost in that mire as such. So the beta was mainly a stability thing. I think we all saw how many patches they released and how much they tested towards the end of making sure the servers didn't fall over, which is never good in any shape or form for any game. Not just FPSs or MMOs, any game that's relying on online servers, which they all pretty much are to a degree. It's problematic if your servers do keep falling down. So fingers crossed, things will go a lot more smoother once we get towards launch, obviously on that day. Maybe they may do more internal alpha testing. If they do, I'm sure I can let you know, because I actually did launch the alpha the other day, and you could log in, but there was no servers. Everything was gone. Yeah, there's nothing there. So whether they allow access to the character servers again, we'll see. Who knows? But yeah, all the characters are gone. Once we find out more details closer to launch, which is a couple of months now anyway. So yeah, we're talking about 7 weeks until launch. Exactly. Original, I actually hear you on that one. They took the decision after the beta last year to delay it because we all knew that it wasn't in a great place. Yes, it's still repetitive. It's not going to be a WoW killer. It might last a few months. It's going to be a distraction. Absolutely. It's going to keep me entertained for a little while. I hope it'll keep you boys and girls entertained for a while as well. Just with the fun. We're going to get a company together where we're all going to be playing. So you'll hear various voices that maybe you don't hear that often, such as Original and Napper and that. We're going to do multicast together. So fingers crossed we'll get some good stuff going, dive in on the content, try and do a lot of it on level as well, so that once we open it up, we can dive in. Now, end of September, I think the launch day, the 28th, obviously 30 days of September, April, June and November, etc. I'm just going to check. That is a Tuesday, so it'll be launching probably late on the Tuesday, the 28th. Yeah, if they're polished for too long, it might wear people down, but this is the last of the days, otherwise we'll start to wonder. Yeah, to be honest with you, Keeps, people are probably going to wander anyway. I think when we were seeing like 200,000 concurrent players and stuff like that, that will be there at launch. But I don't think there's going to be that for long. And this is not to completely diss the game. I just think without knowing what their content is going to be going forward after launch, maybe they're going to want to wait a couple of months and then hit at Christmas with a bit of content. I don't know. Who knows? They haven't even said anything about future content, so they may want to see how the worlds evolve, whether they need to tweak and that. I do honestly think as well that the launch of the game is going to be another beta test, because once people start hitting that level cap and start doing wars and start taking over all of Eternum, which is the world, because there were still areas that hadn't been taken over even at the end of the beta. So I think they're going to see that as a beta test in itself, to see what happens with the wars and everything, and see whether it goes totally imbalanced. So people were wondering after the preview we saw last year, I mean, that people may say giving up it altogether if it gets delayed too much, and I can right off there. To be honest with you, Keeps, I think they're just going to launch it anyway. One thing I did notice, and maybe it's a little bit telling about what or how Amazon think it's going to sell, is that I did read somewhere that, you know, that everybody of the top streamers that were involved in the war, because there was a big Twitch war going on, they had like several high-profile streamers running on like Covenant or Marauders or Syndicate. They pretty much have all been given, I think, about 100 copies each of the game to give away at launch. So when you think if they even have 9 top streamers, you know, the captains of the teams, for example, and they're all giving away 100 copies. That's a lot to give away, if you know what I mean. But maybe they just want people to be playing. I'm sure it'll sell well anyway. I mean, I bought it. You know, I didn't mind. I thought it was going to be quite good. Yes, my motives, as I've said before, were slightly different. It wasn't just because I thought, hey, it's a great game, let's go dive in. I wanted to see how good the engine is for the upcoming Lord of the Rings MMO, which has now sadly been cancelled. But the potential is there, because I do think, and we've seen the engine, the Lumberyard engine is very, very good. It's a nice looker. So sadly, it's delayed by a month, but I think it'll be launching before anything like Call of Duty hits as well, because that'll drag people away. Because people play MMOs. I mean, they had people like Shroud playing it, for God's sake, and, you know, FPS gamers. They're just big names. They wanted it out there. It was their marketing. So we'll see end of September what actually happens. Right, last but certainly not least, and it seems to be a bit of a recurring theme in the whole GeekCast that we do, is the Battlefield 2042 playtest. Now, it says next week, because when I wrote it initially, I had this down. It's actually this coming week. So just bear with me. I just need a quick slip. So there is a preview technical test coming up this week, according to legend, myth, and rumor. But yes, they have said that there is a technical test. Is that a glass of the finest quality? It is, actually. It is a pint of the finest, and I'm not asking for any kind of sponsorship here, but it is Vimto. Magic actually prefers the Vimto, but I drink it as well. But yeah, it's the finest Vimto. I just need... I don't always drink. I mean, I've had a cup of tea. You know, when we were watching the special effects video, I actually drunk a cup of tea, and that's a squirrel nibbling its nuts. I actually drunk a cup of tea in that minute or so that actually was on. But when I talk a lot, I have to drink a lot, otherwise. Yeah. We don't know anyone who's in it, unfortunately, or we would be stream sniping all day. Yeah, the technical test, a lot of emails were sent out last week to basically Battlefield veterans, so people who've maybe played the Battlefield series for many, many years. They've got lots of games on their accounts, etc. Invited to apply for the test. Now, there's no guarantees that you'll get into the test, but there is a test, I believe, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday this coming week. I think it's this coming week anyway. I've forgotten the dates, actually. Yeah, 12th of August until the 15th. So, yeah, what are we on now? We're on the 9th, aren't we? So that's Thursday, this is the 12th. Yeah, so we're doing the 12th. Now, it's under strict NDNA. I won't say DNA like I did last week, but it's an NDNA, so non-disclosure agreement. There'll be no there'll be no streaming, there'll be no recording, and there'll be no leaking. I will tell you now, that game, that test is going to be on Twitch, that is going to be broadcast on YouTube, and it's going to be recorded. It cannot not be. And I think EA know this. they're going to pull it. They're going to have people, you know, and I think this is how they'll do it. A bit like with the alpha for many of the tests that they don't want broadcasting. On your screen, they'll have jumping about is a specific code to your account. Now, if they see that it's your account that's flashing around on that screen, you're going to get banned from every other test and you're going to get kicked out. That is the way that I will expect them to do it. They will probably give some of the big streamers as well maybe previews, and some of them already have seen the game in action other than this playtest preview technical build. Now, the aim of it is obviously to test it. It'll be for the server structure because apart from the bots, they haven't really hammered servers probably with 128 players on a regular basis on the various game types, etc. But one of the main things that they're going to be focusing on is that it's crossplay between consoles and PC. So it isn't just going to be you're going to be playing against PC players, you're going to be playing against consolers as well. Now, there is an open beta due in September. Now, fuck knows when that's coming, but ideally that would want to be at least a week before New World hits. Would be nice, because otherwise it's a little bit like tossing that up and that. But that is the open beta for 2042. I know some of you will be looking forward to that. We discussed Portal and everything last week, so if you haven't seen that, do look at the VOD. I do believe I've uploaded the last week's VOD to YouTube, but I haven't actually let it go live because I didn't have time with feeling a bit ill over the last week. I haven't done all the timestamps for it to make it go live, so I'll do that as well. But keep it just for interesting news. I've just got there's a new Oculus Quest 2 coming for the price as the 64 one came. It's going to be 128 gig. Okay. Now, is there any update in the hardware, or is it literally just an upgrade in the memory size? Do we know? You might not know if it's just thing, but hey, we can always have a look at that. VR is a thing that people are much maligning still, but eventually it is going to be a mainstream thing. You know, we use things like this or a computer to game on. You know, we look at a screen and everything else, and you know, mobile gaming. Your mobile gaming is going to be there in front of your face eventually. So again, future, maybe not now as much mainstream, but they need to develop the tech. If they don't develop the tech and fail and do whatever, how can it improve? You know, it's how the world works. It's how technology happens. Usually when wars happen, that's how technology massively leaps forward, because everybody wants to have the better technology. Did you know that they're testing, and I think it's at Scampton now, drones, the unmanned drones, the proper military ones, not the ones that I fly. These are the big fuckers that can drop bombs and stuff like that. They're more distracted. Exactly, Nettlebrew, exactly. I'm sure then you get the blame. You get the blame. So that is it for this week. Like I say, if we get any more details about the test for the preview for the technical test for 2042, I will let you know. I'll put it in the Discord as always. If you don't already, I shall find the right button. There we go. Join me on the socials as always. Okay, so they've pulled the 64 one. Yeah, probably right there to pull that. You'll probably find a lot of the 64 gig version of the Quest 2 is going to be going very cheap in the stores then, if they're making room for more stock. So if you want to follow me on the Twitter, please click that link and hit the follow button. You can also follow me on the Tube of You. That's my channel right there, which this will be uploaded to as well, and some of my other videos. And then obviously on the Discord, where a lot of us hang out anyway, and I'm sure most of you are already there. If not, join in there. You're all more than welcome. Just when you dive in there, you'll get to see hello, please verify. Click that, verify yourself that you're a human being and you've read the rules, and go to the rules channel, which will appear magically in front of your eyes, and then choose which one you want to see, the content you want to see. So it's fairly easy. If you do get stuck, you can hit me up on the DM on Discord. That's more than welcome, and I can help you out on that one. But yeah, if we get any news on the technical playtest, etc., or you can just click that you have and totally ignore them. Exactly. Like original. I can always make people see it anyway. Originally, you know, if I'm just gonna say, look, you fuckers, you're gonna see it. That's what I'll do. So there we go. So yeah, technical playtest coming this week for some of people. Maybe not everyone, but some people. We'll see. And we'll have a little look-see on that one. There's a heist going on. Yeah, have a go in the heist. You know, fuck it. We'll have that on the go while we exit. There is going to be an out-playing video as well, as always. The last one last week was very, very good. Stray, which was the cat in the kind of cyber world. That was very, very good. You go steady original. You last you big spenders. That was very good. This one's a different one that I hadn't kept much track on. Is an FPS game called Boundary. I hope you can join us in the next one and push those boundaries. But top list. It's top 10. Exclamation mark top 10. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, see, he's now trying to see how many he's got. Yeah. You notice I'm not even in that list. I'm not even in that list. Yeah, original's number 9. I'm in there now. Have to stay unless I remove all your points. Yeah. So I'm going to play out with a video. Thank you very much as always for joining us. If you don't already, I'll double hit that follow button down below. And thank you everybody that subscribes. You are what makes the channel. Everybody coming back, being involved, and watching such shit that this takes hours, and literally it does take hours to write. And I hope you enjoy it. I know obviously the name of the game is probably the highlight, etc. But thank you very much as always. You are a wonderful community, and I hope you stick around for much longer. And I'm going to play you out with Boundary, and I'll see you in the next one. TTFN for now, folks.